Ah, yes, The Shining. I have a lot to say about this one. The movie was released in 1980 and was based off of Stephen King's third novel of the same name, which was released in 1977. The film is directed by Stanley Kubrick, who was already famous for such films as Spartacus, Lolita, 2001: A Space Odyssey, Doctor Strangelove, and A Clockwork Orange. To me, Kubrick has always been hit or miss. When his films are good, they're great. When he misses, they're awful. Most notable are when he tries to adapt a book and completely misses the point of the book and makes his own film. It happens a lot, and sometimes the end result is still good, but other times it's pretty drab. The Shining falls into the latter category. And I know I'm going to get all sorts of assy comments about how I suck, and I'm gay and retarded and everything for, not liking The Shining, but none of that matters. It's not going to change anything in my mind. The film actually got really poor reviews when it was first released. Fans of the book didn't like it due to the change in tone from the source material, and everyone else just thought it was boring. Somehow, years later, everyone suddenly decided it was a classic. Maybe this happened after Kubrick died, but it's one of the most referenced films based on a King novel. The story is pretty simplistic, and that part itself stays pretty true to the novel. Jack Nicholson plays Jack Torrance, a former school teacher turned writer who takes a job as a caretaker of an old hotel in Colorado. He's there with his wife and son, and he's tormented by the ghosts in the hotel and goes nuts, attempting to kill his wife and son. It's already a compelling story, but add to the fact that the young boy has the power of telepathy and clairvoyance and talks to an imaginary person named Tony, and it goes from being a typical drama to a King story. The problem I have with the film is that while it follows the events in the book fairly closely, it does not keep the tone of the novel, nor does it get why Jack goes nuts at the end. In the book, Jack is a pretty normal guy. He has problems, including an explosive temper that gets worse when he drinks. He's given up drinking, but struggles with this. The ghosts torment him and slowly drive him insane. In the film, it's pretty clear early on that Jack is already fucking nuts. He's said to have dislocated his son's arm once, just in a fit of rage for no reason, and his entire demeanor is fucked up. Just watch when they're driving to the hotel how he gets irritated and shit, just 'cause his son asked him a question. Then watch his eyes when he starts talking about the Donner Party. The guy's a fucking loopy bastard, man. The wife, who's played by Shelley Duvall, is also way off. She's lost all the strength and dignity of the character from the novel, and instead is a timid, defeated creature, who seems to be losing it herself. The son often comes off more as creepy than anything. If you didn't know the story, you might expect that he's the one to go off on a rampage at the end. The ghosts in the book don't torment Jack to drive him nuts. He's already off his rocker. They just sort of egg him on. The ghosts of the hotel want the boy because of his telepathic ability, which is called shining, and to become one of them, he has to die on the hotel grounds. So the ghosts talk to Jack while he's all aggravated and tell him that his son is naughty and should be corrected. Basically, they're saying, go fucking kill him. Jack chases his family around with an axe, which is probably the best part of the movie. He got injured falling down some stairs, so his foot is all fucked up. The way he lurches around is pretty creepy. And of course there's the famous door scene where he breaks into the bathroom while his wife hides behind the door. The rest of the film is pretty weak, though. There's really too many long shots of nothing at all, like Danny riding around on his big wheel. This happens 3 times before anything at all happens. The music also bothers me, as it often builds to a crescendo as if something is going to happen, but then it's just a title card. Or sometimes nothing at all happens. At one point the music builds to a crescendo as Jack and his wife are just talking. The soundtrack must have been sent to some other film or something, I don't know. Another thing that bugs me is Tony, Danny's imaginary friend. In the novel, he served a purpose. He was actually Danny himself from the future, guiding his past self through the shining ability. But in this, he's just Danny's imaginary friend, the little boy that lives in his mouth. It serves no purpose other than an excuse to make the kid act all creepy and croak. Shelley Duvall does a decent job, but she's definitely the wrong actress for her character. She seems to get more insane and haggard as the film goes on. I swear she was getting slapped around between takes. The ending of the film is rather abrupt, and really lacks any sense at all. Jack chases Danny out into the hedge maze, another of Kubrick's inventions, and Danny gets Jack lost, so he just sits there and freezes to death. I don't know why he didn't try to get out, but whatever. There's also some scenes that make no sense at all, or are just weird. Like when Jack is talking to the ghost bartender, he keeps saying, "White man's burden." What the fuck is he even talking about? Then another ghost warns Jack that the hotel chef is coming back. He just tells Jack that his son is trying to bring a nigger to the hotel, and Jack seems to be really concerned about this. I guess he's a racist, too. Like, oh no, not a black guy. Can't have that. The movie's just weird. Like many of the films based on King novels, The Shining got a remake in 1997, which aired as a miniseries on ABC. This version actually respected the novel, as Stephen King was closely involved in its creation. I prefer the 1997 version by far. The only thing they altered was the ending, which was changed by King himself, and I actually like that ending more than the one in the book. The original Shining, however, remains to me a burden to watch. It could have been a great film about a man losing his mind, but instead it becomes a by-the-numbers flick about a guy who was already crazy doing crazy things. There was even a parody of it on The Simpsons called The Shinning. I thought that was better than the actual movie. I give Kubrick's Shining a 4 out of a possible 10. Go get the 1997 version instead.